Welcome to the Marry Your Best Friend podcast. I'm John, and I'm seated next to my best friend and incredible comedian in her own right, Suzanne. And well,
we thought I was a good comedian in my own
one
right.
of us should never do stand-up ever again.
Let's have a show of hands. Who of those should not do stand-up anymore? Who?
Well,
Let's
that would
see.
be-
Oh, raise it up higher, sir.
Sorry, that's my bad arm. If you don't mind, that's as high as I can raise it. Needless to say,
We were not a hit last night.
yeah, so this is not our normal podcast time or date, but this is part of our therapy of going through and kind of rehashing.
How terrible last night really was.
Yeah. Well, first off, let's begin. Let's put it in a kind way. We bombed. So last night we had
We definitely broke all the rules. I mean, even as a theater teacher, I did things that I would yell at my kids for doing
It was
on
awesome.
stage. It was really bad.
Okay, so we're going to go through, we're doing this on a Facebook Live because
we just don't, we don't like to, we haven't suffered enough.
yeah, we haven't suffered enough, but we're going
So
to
please
let
comment.
We're going to let people comment. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about last night. There were some great things about last night, and there were some bad things about last night.
There were mostly bad things.
No. The great things we'll talk about. The bad things were us, particularly this side of the screen. And then we're going to go through. We're actually going to go through the jokes, and I'm going to play a little video so you can see when we lost this crowd. And
I think we lost the crowd when we took the stage.
I think when we walked into the event center and you and I wanted to both get a drink to kind of get ready for the show.
No, when we walked into the event center and I looked around, I looked at you and I said, "This is not our crowd."
Well, there wasn't a bar. The hardest thing they had was lemonade and iced tea. But anyway,
But it was just not. We somehow didn't read the crowd beforehand to know what set to bring, which we brought one that was a little inappropriate for that setting.
I don't know if it's inappropriate. There was not like cuss.
No,
bad
not
language
that
in it
kind
or
of
anything
inappropriate, but
nature.
there were children there in the front row.
And there were 80-year-olds in their scooters.
And 80, yeah, they just weren't our demographic, I guess.
We keep saying that maybe we should have done more shows in Carmel because that's kind of our group, or Noblesville, like the north side. This thing was on the south side down in
He's grasping at straws,
am
man.
grasping
He's
at
trying
straws.
to find any way for me not to completely
But then
blame
we
him
said,
for the bombing.
on the way back, we're like, if we were in Noblesville or Carmel, that's our crowd.
I mean, I was so desperate last night. We went by to get something to drink at what is it? The
Courthouse Cafe.
Yeah, Clubhouse. Well, anywhere on the square in Noblesville, and they had live music. And I said, "What if we just went and asked them if we could take the mic and just try to do it here? Because I bet these people would laugh. I just needed to laugh, man."
I get why comedians like do a set and then they go try to find another stage as quick as possible, and so they can do more and more and more and more.
And they all have therapists. I'm sure.
It was interesting
because it was terrible.
No, but last Monday when we were at Zany's and we were talking to one of the comics afterwards, he said, he does each line like 1,000 times in front of an audience to get it just right. And I could see how last night after we bombed so horribly that we wanted to do it again. Like you were ready to stand up in that bar and go, "Hey, everybody, we're comedians and we're just going to hop up here and do a set because we suck."
I believe that our material was funny.
Well, we will let
for the most part.
We
it
will
was
let
funny.
the people here decide.
Our
if it was funny or
delivery
not.
was good.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Okay, so here's a couple things about
Sir.
last night. So first off, the good things. Okay, this was a fundraising evening, and the moment that we walked in, so we made a donation. We made a donation, which they were very appreciative of. But then we challenged our friends, and so those of you that are watching, thank you for donating, because when we walked in, they're like, "Man, your friends are really generous."
Yeah, they were very excited about that,
for
and
those
it's
of
just a
you-
lovely family.
Yeah, this is kind of like when you sponsor a kid to do like a 10-mile run and he fails at about a mile. You still made a donation that made sense. So like that's kind of like us, to where we made a significant impact in this foundation because of your financial gift. So thank you for that. But we failed you desperately. I don't think they're going to invite us back. But anyway, awesome fundraising. Here's
But it
the
was
other
on
thing.
the south side, so we probably won't ever see these people again.
Yeah.
I
Well,
hope.
it was funny because as we were coming back, I said, Carmel and Noblesville is kind of our crowd. And Suzanne said, "Oh, or Fishers." I said, "Yep." Until they realize that I'm that guy that ran for school board. They go, "Wait, I don't like him."
Wait, we don't like him.
Yeah, we don't like him. We forgot. We don't like that guy. But anyway, so awesome fundraising.
So happy that we're doing this together, because like none of that translates into my creativity. Yeah.
Well,
thanks.
anyway, so we went down there, had an awesome fundraising. We were really excited because one of our favorite comedians was the headliner.
Yeah,
the
we
main
talked
thing.
about that
He was
a couple
coming.
times.
Brian Bates. We're excited about him. Brian came in, super humble guy, just really nice, and he looks at the two of us and says, "How long have you guys been doing this?" And we're like, "Do we act like we've done it for a couple of years, but only like once?" But
within that couple of years. No, we've done it 3 times.
But anyway, so we talked to him. He's just a sweet guy, and he's so good. But what was funny was I mean, come on. I was kind of hoping that because he's headlining at Helium tonight, and then Monday he's on the Bob and Tom show, and I just thought that he would go, "Wow, this
Look how amazing they are."
This John and Suzanne from that podcast that I've never heard of, I'm going to start listening to them because he hosts the Nate Land podcast. And I was like, oh, sure. He's going to start mentioning us on the Nate Land podcast.
That's right. We're about to get booked.
And we're going to get booked, and they're going to talk about us, and they're going to upgrade our cabin on the Nate Land cruise we're going on. And we're like, hey,
no, I don't think so.
Don't leave those guys in steerage. Move them up above. But anyway, we are like, oh, Brian's going to discover us. This is awesome. And
really,
we
I
could
just
not have
didn't
bombed
want to
in front of
which we did.
We could have bombed in front of everybody else and been okay. But the fact that there was a professional comedian that we respect there, and it was so bad. But anyway, so we bombed. We had dreams of greatness. Suzanne always says, and let's be clear, I'm the one that bombed. I'm the one that started the whole thing off. Suzanne always says that I'm riding your coattails. Is that it? Or I'm pulling on your apron strings. Following in your footsteps. But first off, the room last night, awesome foundation. It's the Elena Day Foundation, Megan Day, the 3 boys, their husband. They're just really sweet family.
Lovely.
And they showed a video of Elena, and she loved to dance. Everybody at Riley knew her because she danced down the hallways, and she's just super full of joy. And she died at 17 months.
It's a tragic story, but it's
they're
a
doing
beautiful.
They're giving scholarships
fund
to people who are going into nursing, and they're blessing families who are facing childhood cancer. Incredible foundation, great video, all that kind of stuff. But the room was not what we like. We do okay with like older people and couples, especially. But this room had it was interesting because they had, I don't know how to say it. They had seniors. They had
little kids.
It was like a church group, and then I realized that and I should have known something when the guy who introduced us. He was sitting there with us and Brian, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to get up there and kind of warm him up a little bit because I don't think anybody in this crowd has ever been to a comedy show."
Yeah, they did not.
And
they didn't know how to respond.
I get a sense that they've had these fundraisers before, and they usually ask the senior pastor of, Southside Church of Christ or whatever to come speak. And this time they went on a limb and hired a professional comedian.
And the thing you have to know about Brian Bates is he is very, not just clean.
Oh, he's squeaky.
Squeaky clean. Like they laughed at the jokes about his dog, his vet bills, and his little toddler daughter, and the fact that he got married at 48. I mean, it's all very funny. It is funny, but it was not our demographic.
To put it lightly, it was not our demographic. But anyway, so we went for it. I thought the South Side was safe. We may play better on the North Side, but it reminded me last night as we were driving home because some of my jokes were so inappropriate. The first time I ever did stand up in front of Suzanne was at Evangel University. Suzanne was a senior in college. I was living in Los Angeles, and I moved to Springfield, Missouri.
Right, but so we could get married or whatever.
So we could get married in May or whatever. And anyway, so I moved to Springfield.
We got married in June,
we did.
Sweetheart.
You graduated in May.
Yes.
But anyway, for some reason, your dorm had like a special late night thing. And
yeah, it was
Rick
like
Beeman,
a play, like a what do you call it when you make fun of something? A parody.
Of
a night show.
Yeah, that's right.
Show.
That's right. I totally forgot. Yeah, so it was like the Tonight Show or the Letterman Show, something of that nature. Rick Beeman, one of our friends, was the host or whatever, and they asked me to do a stand-up comedy set.
And mind you, John did not go to Evangel University.
He
was not in school there.
No,
I was.
I went to Oral Roberts University. And was already out in Los Angeles.
But I mean, you were not a student.
No, I was
at
living
that
off
time.
campus, and we've talked about that in previous episodes where I was living off campus in an apartment that you picked and didn't realize.
Yeah. Go on.
In the lane of the highway.
Just Continue.
So anyway, that night at Evangel University, I stood up and told some jokes, and people liked it, except the administration, because I said something. I can't remember the joke, but it was something about I like cycling. I loved mountain biking and cycling, but the one cycle I couldn't understand is the menstrual cycle, and
they found that very offensive.
I don't know. Some was a God college. I guess they don't have periods. I don't know, but. There were some other jokes that I made that night.
I don't even remember the other ones. That's the only one I remember.
Yeah, I made a comment about one of the RAs. But anyway, after that performance, it was communicated pretty clearly to Suzanne that I was no longer allowed to be on that campus.
Yeah. And so it was like 2 weeks to graduation or something like that. I mean, it was very close to graduation. And they had, forbidden him to come on graduation day and go to the graduation. And my mom and dad went to bat and said, what do you think you're doing? This is our kid's betrothed. This is our daughter's fiance. He's coming because, they
were donors
fund quite a bit.
They were donors
you're going to let him come.
So next thing you know, I was allowed to go for that one time. But President Spence was there. He allowed me to come.
Sweet President Spence.
Anyway.
I don't think it was him. I think it was Van Zandt.
All right, so let's get to how bad the show was last night.
Oh, do we have to rehash it?
We do. I will say that after we were done, Brian Bates came up to us and I said, "Man, I'm sorry we bombed."
I told John, I said, I feel like we need to write an apology letter to evereveryone in this room.
Well, what's funny is we're going to talk about how we.
Yeah, what was funny because not much was.
No. The producer gave me some notes to talk about after we review the set.
Because, I thought the producer was off today.
Oh, no. The producer gave me some great notes about what to do when you experience failure. Mm-hmm. And Suzanne's response to failure was, "I'm getting the hell out of here." She packed her bag, her curling iron, and she was out the door. Like they had said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Bates," and Suzanne's already gone.
I was in the car, and he texted me, and he goes, "Are you coming back in?" And I just said, "Take me home.
Yeah,
I'm done. It's over."
So anyway,
I don't want to see a soul.
Last night,
because I don't usually mess up. I don't usually.
I think I'm going to play part of the video just so you can see how.
Do you have part of the video?
Do I have part of the video?
I haven't even seen this. I'm afraid. Don't let people see it.
We're not going to show all of it, but let's just say that John and Suzanne will never be invited back to another fundraiser.
Please don't show it.
Hold on. We just got to do this real quick. So hold on. So here's the room. This is the guy introducing us. We've got a plug for the podcast. I doubt we have a listener.
Yeah, they probably blocked us.
Hold on. Look at everybody walking around. Like these people are not listening to us already. They're having dessert table.
Which was self-serve, by the way. Like buffet style.
There's Brian Bates. Okay, I'm going to pause this real quick. Okay, so if you're watching YouTube or Facebook Live, you can see this. If you're listening on the podcast, you can't. But right in front of my camera is the professional comedian Brian Bates. Okay,
watching
host of the Nate Land podcast with Nate Bargatze. He opens for Leanne Morgan and Nate Bargatze. He does his own headlines. I mean, he's a pretty big deal. I like him a lot. So here we come up on stage. Oh, and by the way, they did have 2 mics for us, which was good. But then they go, "Oh, you're going to have to turn on your own mic." So that kind of threw us a little bit right before
it didn't throw me off.
No,
I just said, turn it on. Because I asked you to do something.
So here we go. Here's the stage. Now, if you look at the room, they're still eating. Okay. Mistake number 1. Actually, let's go through a couple of mistakes. We should have known the room based on the fact that the dinner and the banquet started at 5.
Yeah, they ate at 5:30, y'all.
They ate at 5:30, which is like
it was like MCL.
Yeah, we didn't know that going in because most fundraisers start at like 7:30,
8 o'clock. Even if you're going to have a silent auction, which they did,
which
so people start getting there.
Someday
at 4.
we may go to the Lucas Estate and we might be able to do a later fundraiser. But anyway, these people had to get home to watch like Dateline at 9. But anyway, or Murder, She Wrote. Here we go. So they invite us. Here we come up on stage. Okay.
I can't see it.
My wife instructed me before I came up here to turn her mic on.
So I turn your mic on.
But you didn't.
So we've been married 36 years. I'm John. Sorry, I'm John. It's my beautiful wife of 36 years.
Hey, people, pay attention here. Can somebody? Oh, they start clapping. Oh, they've been married 36 years.
Yeah,
so
that's
this is
all
good.
We heard.
Okay, so the line there is, I say,
Please don't.
I'm John, this is my wife Suzanne, and we both wear Spanx. Okay, so a few people start laughing at that. So this is the track we're going down. We're talking about being fat. So
I don't
anyway.
even want to watch
Not
this.
the same ones, though.
unless the laundry is full, and then, it's just survival for both of us. Spanx are like a security blanket because everything jiggles without it. But I stuffed myself into my Spanx like a sausage casing, and everything
Okay, sausage casing. That's a good line.
it is.
2 or 3 women laughed.
Maybe.
Stays in place. And we'll admit it, we're vain.
Yes, we are.
Okay,
I
they
may
laughed
not,
at us being gay.
color my hair or do anything like working out that actually makes me look better.
Uh-oh, here we
But
go.
I
This is
do
the beginning
drink
of our
Diet
day.
Dr. Pepper.
They like the Diet Dr. Pepper.
Actually, that's a lie. I go to 7-Eleven or Speedway and I get the big gulp, but I fill it up with Dr. Pepper, but I top it off with Diet Dr. Pepper. Makes me
They
feel
laughed
so
at that.
much slimmer.
And can anybody tell me why that McDonald's Diet Coke is so much better than everywhere else? Yes?
People are walking around.
Yes?
Okay, I'm pausing this
Okay,
again.
it's just
I'm pausing this again because
right?
Brian Bates is like checking his email going, oh, dear God, who are these people? Or maybe he's texting his agent to say, I found the next great act. What do you think he's doing?
I think he's
Checking social
Googling
media.
us to see how bad we are.
Okay, keep going. Here we go.
You can hear
And it
children
just goes
crying.
so perfectly with my balanced breakfast of 2 sausage McMuffins and shame.
Okay, that line I laugh at. So her line here is, it's like squeezing myself. No. When you say, it's just so crispy or something.
My
about the Diet
balanced
Coke.
breakfast of 2 sausage McMuffins and shame.
That's a funny balanced breakfast joke, right? So we're about to lose them. Get ready.
I mean, this is not.
World's worst diabetic.
I'm the world's worst diet.
Seriously, I stash candy like an alcoholic hides his flask. And we're always trying to lose weight, or at least look like we are.
So when I mentioned flask and
That
nobody
pretty much
laughs,
went flat.
because I realized these people probably don't even know what a flask is. This is when we start realizing that this is the Church of Christ crowd.
No, I realized it when we were in like the room next to the banquet room, and you asked if we could please go through our lines, and I said, "Oh, okay." And you said, "We'll whisper it." And as we whispered each line,
We realized how inappropriate it was.
we
Okay,
really
so
did.
here's where we start losing them. And I'm going to turn this off because it gets bad.
And you know those people that go up and down in your neighborhood, jogging, exercising? Yeah, that's not us. We like to sit on our porch. He might smoke a cigar. I may have a glass of wine. And we exercise our opinions.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
And they're done.
what? I think it was your wine drinking. They realized at that
I think it was
point-
your cigar smoking.
I think at that point they realized, oh my gosh, we booked a smoker and a drinker. And we lost him. So at this point, I'm going to go back to just us and not play that video anymore.
Please don't play the rest of
So
it.
here's how the jokes go. And you can tell us, you can give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. Tell us if you like these or not. But so then we do the bit about jogging around the neighborhood for exercise. We prefer to sit on the porch. I drink my wine while John smokes a cigar, and we exercise our opinions, right? And then I talk about, and this also didn't go over well because I said I get exhausted just watching them. Sometimes I lift a finger,
yeah.
usually the one holding my drink, or if or flipping off my neighbor who might be running by in his spandex. So flipping off, they didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
And then we talk about me having
Which
a trick
is
for
funny
looking
to
thin.
us because we know our neighbors and
And our
it's
neighbors
just
do
funny.
walk by. Yeah, Will and Mandy walk
'cause
by all the time.
They do it to just be
And then
funny.
we go, you have a trick for looking thinner. I say that's true. All you have to do is buy bigger clothes. And then you say, last week, John bought a shirt so big, it's like a male version of a muumuu.
That cheesy joke, they laughed.
They actually laughed
and
at it.
I don't like that joke, but
And then I
they
said, well,
laughed.
my mom is Hawaiian. It's not my fault that the dryer keeps shrinking my clothes. Dead. You know, for all I exercise, my washing machine gets more exercise or more of a workout than I do. A few less.
Uh-oh, here we
And then
go.
here we go. And then I said, you said, well, I'm glad you can admit that you're vain. And I said, I admitted that we're vain. I'm not the one who wears sticky boobs. So we go into a whole bit here, or about to launch into a bit of sticky boobs.
Yeah.
And I say,
Which is super
do you
funny.
men know what sticky boobs are? And I look at this guy in the front row and he's like, oh dear God, no, don't ask me this. And you said boob, like that, shut the room down.
Yeah, boob shut the room down.
So then you go into,
My whole sticky boob story of, sticky boobs are brilliant when and if they stick. They are boob-shaped silicone and stick to you in lieu of a bra. Very comfy.
yes.
Except silicone holds moisture, which brings us to last weekend at Nashville Super Speedway, where I was just walking around talking to adorable 20-somethings when I felt a bulge around my waist, and I had lost my sticky boobs. And it just gets worse.
It gets worse. And they're going, oh, dear God. And then you talk about it being like a goiter, which the women with goiters in the room probably didn't appreciate. But then you talk about reaching in there, you're 58.
I reached in, I pulled out the sticky boobs,
And
put
then
them in
you
my
said-
bag.
then you
but
said-
they were the bigger ones, not the little sticky nips.
So you said nips, and I go, wait, there are sticky nips?
And I say,
The room is like against us at this point.
they are.
And then you said, yes, they're just so much
It's like
smaller.
we're Frankenstein, and they're coming after us with the.
Did they just talk about boobs and nips? Keep going. So then you said, I lost one of those.
I lost one of those at our boys' Boy Scout camp, and I'm pretty sure that the kid who won the fire
Starting
building
contest.
contest used my sticky nip as a starter.
Which is a great, I see that image. I'm laughing at that. They were still stuck on that. Now here's where it gets even worse. So then I
Our
stand up.
delivery was better. I
Yeah,
will
yeah.
give you that than right now. But
I stand up and I say,
we're burnt.
man, men don't have anything like sticky
Oh
boobs.
my God, here it comes.
All we get is an eggplant emoji. Nobody
Nothing.
laughed. Dead. But I think you look beautiful, and I take my role as a supporting husband to heart. I like to screen my wife for breast cancer every chance I get. Now,
At least-
Time out. My hands may have been doing the shape like I'm rubbing her boobs. That's one thing. The second thing is the benefit that we're at is for a girl who died of cancer. And here I am,
But we're not talking about breast cancer.
still inappropriate on my part. Feel my wife.
was
I like to check
all
my wife for breast
inappropriate.
cancer. That was okay.
And then the next line, mine was, at least thank God I said that is inappropriate.
And I go, sorry, you're right. But I will tell you this week, I looked at my wife's chest and saw a dark spot that concerned me. I told her as kindly as possible that I thought she might want to go get that looked at.
Turned out it was just a piece of chocolate that fell off my chocolate
They
croissant.
laughed at that. It was like all of a sudden it was a relief. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, she doesn't just drink, she eats chocolate.
That fell off my chocolate croissant that I was eating while watching TV in bed.
And
I
then
saw one of
then
your
we launched.
commercials.
She goes, I saw one of your commercials. I say diabetes commercials, and then she goes, then I say those Ozempic ads are just so catchy and inspirational. And then I launch into singing the Ozempic ad. The great thing is there was another old lady there who obviously takes Ozempic because she was like doing the whole
was she singing with you?
Ozempic. Yeah, she sang it. And then I said, I like to sing that to my snacks before I eat them. A few chuckles. And I go, and the Oreos, they clap right along. Lady in the front row kind of smiled. She felt bad for me. Like,
That was a super cheesy joke. I thought for sure that they would
But here's
laugh.
what's bad. So then we go into the Jardiance bit, and I say,
Yeah, don't get him started on Jardiance.
Yeah, and I go, I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. And I do a whole song and dance thing.
I say because the side effects lead him to the bathroom.
And then I say to them, well, it's a little pill with a big story to tell. And that story involves a lot of pooping. Well, they're done.
Crickets. Yeah.
Crickets at that point.
We should have just said, thank you.
And
We're
at this
done,
point,
Suzanne.
no, I'm gonna stop here. So, Suzanne and I went to this comedy practicum, and they told us one of the most important things to do is to write your set on like a half a sheet of a paper.
Just like the bullet points.
Just the bullet points. So if you get lost, you can automatically just look down at the stool, have a drink. You saw how Brian Bates did last night. He would have a drink of water and kind of regain, like, okay, where am I going next? Just a little professional tip. And I
saw that you had this in the car.
So it says,
So I felt
thanks,
secure.
Vain, diabetic, lift a finger, we are vain, sticky boobs, eggplant emoji, Ozempic ads, Jardiance. The next one says Lily. Okay, I'm going into a whole bit about Lily. And this piece of paper, guess where it was when we were performing?
Do tell, because I'd wished it had been with us.
It was 150 yards away in the front seat of the car, locked. This was in the car. So at this point, we're doing so poorly. And the crowd is so
Against us.
Not chanting, but just
Like, oh dear God.
who are these people?
And why are they here?
And like, why is she married to him?
And why did she say boobs?
Yes. And alcohol. And what does this have to do with what we're doing right now for the Elena Day Foundation? And so at that point, I literally freeze and I can't think of another thing to say.
That is 100% the truth. And
if you know me,
I
how
was
many times in my
so
life have I had a
mortified.
place when I literally had nothing to say? I didn't know where I was going. I didn't have my notes. I didn't have my phone because my phone is in the back of the room recording that video that you just saw. I had nothing. And I looked at my wife and I said, I'm lost. Like, what am I supposed to say? I have nothing to
never
say.
seen, he looked like a legit deer in the headlights. I mean, it was.
Okay. I will say,
horrific.
This may have been God helping us, actually, because the next material that I was going into, that I missed all of this.
I saved us a little bit, though.
You did. But I was talking about, does anyone here work for Lily? I'm thinking a fundraiser in Indianapolis, Indiana.
For Riley.
For Riley
Children's
Association. On the south side. There's going to be people in the room that work for Lily. But the problem is, I grew up on the north side where half the people in my neighborhood work for Lily.
Work for Lily, yeah.
The people on the south side work for Cummins or Waste Management or something like that, I guess. But I missed the part to say, hey, does anybody here work for Lily? Because my next bit was going into the fact that it's amazing how huge weight loss drugs are these days, and Lily is making so much money off of them. You like it when I say bank off of them. But anyway.
No, they're killing it.
They're killing it. That's right. They're killing it, which probably would have been inappropriate as well. But anyway, intern impacting our local. But I say they're making so much money. They're impacting the local economy. Did you know that Mounjaro and Trulicity and whatever other weight loss drugs Lily makes for diabetes, which is a joke because everybody who's taking these pills or don't have diabetes.
We all know why that's a joke.
It's helped the Lilly Foundation give away more money than ever before. The Lilly Foundation, this is what God saved us from. The Lilly Foundation used to fund our local parks, museums, and lots of community organizations with profits from Prozac and Cialis. I was then going to say, so let's give a shout out to the anxious and depressed out there.
Which, by the way, you wrote this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those ambitious gentlemen. The whole city is happier and more... I was going to say erect, but in this script, it was upright.
I begged him not to say erect.
Thank God I blanked and I didn't say that. And then,
thank God you blanked. And then I blanked because what the heck was I going to do?
The next part that Suzanne was supposed to say was, remember those couples in the Cialis ads sitting next to each other in separate bathtubs, holding hands, looking at the sunset?
I told John, I want that. And he romantically replied,
we can't afford a second bathtub.
Of course not.
But instead, we chose to do stand-up together. So in your line is standing in front of a group of people telling jokes about being fat. My sticky boobs, just as romantic as holding hands at sunset. So this part,
skipped all of that.
We skipped around here. And the next part is, but you love being with me, and I think doing comedy together was your idea. And then you say, go ahead and read this, because I think it's funny.
Oh, well, I just thought it would be fun. There are so many funny couples that I love. George Burns and Gracie Allen, Desi and Lucy, Ray and Deborah, Will and Grace.
And I say, not all of those are actual couples, honey.
I know, but you know what I meant. My favorite funny couple is us.
Then I say, George and Gracie made this look so easy. George would stand there smoking a cigar and was the perfect straight man. But doing stand-up today, and I asked, does anybody here remember George and Gracie? Well, the whole back section with their walkers and their easy-go scooters.
I was just in a fog.
No. They watched it in like prime time. They're at the back of the room. Like, oh, no, George and Gracie. And then I go, he was standing there. He's the perfect straight man. And then I said, but doing stand-up today as a couple is a little odd. Every comedy club in America only has one stool. And then you say...
we had to borrow our kids' karaoke mic
just to be here tonight.
Yeah.
And then here is the deadest a room could ever get. When I stood next to you and I said, and you should see the looks I get when I tell people that I aspire to be a straight man. Dead. And then you say, trust
me, I've checked. It's so bad.
And we're so off. And so we didn't even get to the part about Tina Fey.
Lost.
I'm like lost. We missed the whole cookbook thing.
No, we didn't. I found us at the cookbook
Okay,
thing.
go ahead. You said, this is right. I'm literally there panicking. Like,
standing there, like sweat running down, just
you could see like a pea spot start, and like I was wetting my pants on stage.
It was like that scene from Broadcast News where he's sweating.
It was that bad. And what's so funny, though, is then you go, look, I was a teacher for years, and you ad-libbed some more, and you said, I taught classics, and I loved reading the classics, but today if I'm reading something, it's either a cookbook or from a comic. If I'm reading, it's either laughing or figuring out how to fatten you up like a calf. Once again, skipped all that. I was like...
Because they're not going to know who they are.
Yeah. And then I said, wait, did you hear her say that she likes to fatten me up like a calf?
And they did laugh at this line.
They did.
I dream of 4-H or the state fair giving out ribbons for show husbands.
Okay, time out. Agricultural crowd.
Right.
So now we can save this joke for if we ever get to do like the Becknology days or Gary Reynolds, John Deere picnic. Because
I will just need to do a little sharing, and I'd love to make you move around the arena with one of those sticks.
They love the thought of me being a show husband and you hitting me with a stick.
They liked that.
All of a sudden they're like, he does look like a cow.
or a pig.
Anyway, so then we go into, why we're there and why we love Brian Bates comedy. What was funny was I said, we love going to Brian Bates comedy. We've seen him open for Nate Bargatze. We've seen him open for Liam Morgan. We've seen him headline his own set. And then you say, I listened to the podcast. And I go, or you start talking about the first time you saw Brian Bates.
Yeah, the first time I saw Brian Bates was at the Crackers Comedy Club in downtown Indy, and I bought you a CD.
And I say, I remember, because I paid for you and our son to go to dinner. I paid for you and my son, or our son.
I did help.
To go to the show. And then after the show, you gave $20 of my money to Brian so that you could get his CD because you love me. Thanks for thinking of me. When we showed Brian Bates the fact that we had the CD from 10 years ago, he goes, "Where did you get that?" He thought he doesn't have it anymore.
He's like, "Where did you get that?" I said, "I bought it from you at Crackers." And he said, "Well, I think you were the last one."
Well, and what was funny was I told on stage that we've had this CD in your CD player in the Suburban for like 8 years. Mm-hmm. And so you can think that it's either the best comedy CD that we never had to buy another one.
I'm sweating just thinking about all
or
this
the fact that we never bought another CD. So anyway.
Oh, have mercy. It was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. So here's the next part. So Brian said,
there's more?
Yeah.
I thought we were done.
No.
Thanks. Oh, gosh. See, look, it's just continuing today. Yeah, thanks. We're John and Suzanne, and we screwed everything up.
Hold on. So Brian says, thanks for taking a bullet for me because they were still
really
eating.
did.
He was like, look, he goes, they were still eating.
Bad.
It was dessert. And he goes, I said, I'm sorry we bombed. He goes, no. He goes, thanks. Thanks.
I think he was just grateful that.
And that moment that we thought was coming, like, hey, why don't you guys open for me tomorrow? Didn't happen. The moment where he says, hey, I'm going to do Bob and Tom on Monday. You guys
want to join us?
Along?
Yeah, no.
Didn't happen. The part where he says, I'm going on tour and you guys would be amazing with me. We need to check our email to see if that one came through. But here's the producer.
Thanks for taking the fall.
What do you do when you face failure? Okay.
I go to the car and cry and call my best friend.
That's what you did. You called Liz, didn't you? And you tried to get a hold of Sherry because it's because of her we were there.
She was working, so I was texting her.
Oh, God. So it says, now the reality is this is not really a failure with sin. This isn't like I went out on a bender or...
No.
But this isn't that type of failure. But to deal with failure like, business or professional failure, because I would think this is somewhat a professional failure from a Christian perspective. Number one is to acknowledge the setback in your feelings. That's what we're doing right now. We're acknowledging the setback. We failed. We bombed. It was awful. And the setback.
And at one point, John says to me, he goes, well, I guess we're done with this part of our life.
I guess we're done with comedy. I thought we were done. We're gonna be auditioning for Suzanne's husband now. So
he is definitely buying me a present. I'm just saying.
Well, so I did send an apology letter to the lady who invited us, Megan Day, awesome lady. Didn't laugh at our jokes, but still awesome.
I think she was just
as mortified.
Shocked.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh dear God, how do I explain this to the board that I invited them?" That's what was going through her mind. But I sent her a note and I said, "Look, I have to apologize for two things. One, sorry we bombed. Two, sorry we had to leave early because my mom's washer exploded. And
right before we walk out, I'm getting feverish texts from your mom's caregiver at Independence Village saying that, long story, she had to move apartments again. She's in a temporary apartment. They hooked her washer up. She started the washer and it leaked all over the apartment.
So they sent us a picture, like we're literally about to walk on stage, of my mother, my 91-year-old mother, who
refuses to leave the apartment that now has water standing in it. And they want to know what to do. And I'm like...
And my mother has dementia, so she doesn't...
Go to the front desk.
When I asked her about it this morning, she didn't even remember it. But we get a picture of like an inch thick of water or whatever. Soapy water in her apartment. But anyway, so here we go. What do you do when you face failure? Acknowledge the setback and your feelings, which we did. And then turn to God in prayer for wisdom and strength to analyze what went wrong, learn, and adapt. Now, I did pray this morning when I went to church.
I bet you did.
I went to the 7:30 Mass. I prayed.
Lord, give me material that's appropriate.
Asking God for wisdom and strength. And we're going to get to this in a minute, to analyze what went wrong. Seek forgiveness for yourself and others. We said we're sorry. I apologized. Mm-hmm. Honey, I need to apologize to you. I'm sorry that I left you hanging. Because you saved the day, but I
saved the day.
I literally did not know what else to. It was so bad. Like broadcast news is a great example of what this was. Because at one point I looked at my wife and said, "What's my next line?"
I know he's saying into the microphone, "What is my line?"
I'm lost. I have no idea what to do. But anyway, it says, remember, this is the thing that I like.
could have slapped you in
Seek
the face.
forgiveness for yourself and others. I ask you for forgiveness. Trust God's grace and sovereignty. So I accept God's grace today. Thank you. Now, remember, your identity is in Christ, not your achievements. So my identity is in Christ, not as a comedian. So I'm a sinner saved by grace. I'm loved by God. I'm not funny.
You're really twisting this into something
Here
to
we
make
go.
you feel better.
The next
is
one,
what I
turn to
think.
God for guidance and strength. Pray. We did that. Trust His sovereignty. We did that. Find comfort in Scripture. Okay, so the Scripture says...
This has nothing to do.
This is the way I'm dealing. This is how I'm dealing. It says, refer to verses like Psalm 37:24, which promises God upholds those who stumble, because we stumbled.
God saved us from that bad joke.
Yeah. And Romans 8:28, which states, He works all things for the good for those who love Him. I love that verse. My mom's been saying that to me since I was a kid, and every failure. But it's like, hey, somehow our failure last night, He's going to work to good. So only God can do that. So anyway, all right, process the failure with biblical mindset. We get this, acknowledge, accept, seek forgiveness, repent, confess, embrace God's grace. Okay, here's where I'm going with this.
Yes, please do tell where you're going with this. 'cause I
Learn
don't
and
see
grow
the
from the
connection.
experience. Okay, learn and grow from the experience. Analyze the setback. So how could we have avoided that last night? Me knowing the material, probably. Us having...
But here's the thing. Can I just interject, please? Just let me. The biggest...
The number one comment we get on this podcast is let your wife talk more.
The biggest argument that we had all during our practicum class doing this
Oh,
is...
the tape's almost out here.
Yeah, nice try. The thing is
Out of
that he
memory.
consistently says to me, if you would just learn the part, if you would just learn the script.
Is that the way I talk in your mind?
Yes, very
That's my voice.
like the Wicked Witch.
Linda, you see me as a female witch? Like, I can't even be like a male.
Absolutely not. You're so petty. It's totally female.
You pick me as like, somebody from like Lord of the Rings or Harry
Absolutely
Potter.
not. No, you're much too fickle.
Oh, God. Thank you. Okay, analyze the setback. I could have learned more. We could have actually practiced. Instead of going out of town on Friday, I could have stayed in town and we could have practiced.
Yeah, because all the things that
instead of
happened on Friday, you could have
Instead of
stayed.
Saturday, I didn't have to mow the grass. I could have talked to you.
No, but the thing is, we knew it. We knew it. We knew the material. It's
Kinda,
when
I did. We knew it
No.
enough to recite it, but we hadn't internalized it. We had just written it like that week. But anyway, these comedians, like Brian Bates, he was doing jokes last night that we heard 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, he pulls it out. He had to fill. Now, here's the other thing that's kind of funny.
He had to feel all that time.
He had a full set, but then they told him, this is that you hire a professional comedian who's one of the best. He comes in and they go, hey, can you get done by 7:15? Because we really need to push the silent auction that closes at 7:30. So it doesn't matter how funny you are. We need to push the silent auction. So,
Which, by the way, were
and he looked
like
at his watch. He looked at his watch.
baskets.
They were great. He looked at his watch and you could tell him throughout the night, like, okay, 7:15, got to be off of here. And then he would do another set. But those jokes that he has have been in him forever. So it'd be like us going back to original content from like 5 years ago.
Right,
Like your
Shaper panties.
Shaper panties thing,
Yeah.
or me doing the Jon Stewart
Why
bit.
is mine always about underpants
don't
or
know.
undergarments?
But maybe I should revisit the Jon Stewart
I didn't
bit.
even say bra last night. Like when it came
the
to
bra was in the script.
Yeah, bra was in the script, and I said undergarment because all I could see were these 11-year-old boys on the front row. And by the way, no lights were dimmed.
I'm sweating because we bombed
nothing.
so bad.
It was just like standing in a fully lit church basement.
They dimmed the event hall.
I don't think
This
so.
is a banquet hall where they have like weddings and things like that.
Yeah,
It's a
I mean, it's a
event, but
nice place.
It was,
but it's,
and it was food was good. The people were gracious. We just bombed.
we just were crying.
But anyway, so it says analyze the setback. We just did that. Adapt your strategy. So we have learned we probably shouldn't do fundraisers that don't include a bar because we would have done better had we had a drink beforehand.
No, I
think the audience would
crowd
have done
would have
better.
been better.
Suzanne looked at me at one point. She goes, if they were Catholics, they would be dying at this.
Yeah.
Because Catholic fundraisers are fun because they are drinking. The Knights of
Well,
Columbus have a
it's
bar.
also just a different mindset, and the fact that it started at 5:30 and ended at 7:15 or 7:30,
Yeah.
that should have given us some kind of idea.
So seek wisdom and refine your business concepts and strategies to prevent the same failures. Brian Bates, they're still eating. That's kind of a good clue. Like, oh, wait, maybe you shouldn't perform while they're still getting their dessert.
Yeah, and it was not like they bring you a plate thing. It was like a buffet.
Yeah.
So they were getting up out of their chairs. There were children running all over the back.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just we probably should have waited and done
about some
something
Christian
else.
crowds. If you said the word boob, they'd be offended. Or when we said the word boob or bra.
I don't think so.
But if a woman in the front row started breastfeeding, they'd be like, isn't that beautiful?
In general, yeah, probably.
Anyway, so the next part, adapt your strategy. So we're going to adapt our strategy here, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And the last point was rebuild confidence. I totally understand why comics, when they bomb, they want to go do another set, do another set, do another set. And
You just need that reassurance, like, hey, I'm not.
was it me? Was it the crowd? Was it the joke?
Yeah, was it the joke? And during our class, this is a.
I feel like Mike Pence. There's a fly.
I know there is a fly in here. There was a comic that came and, well, actually every week when he had somebody different come, and there was a question that was asked several times of different comedians. When do you put a joke to bed? How many times do you try it before you go, yeah, I guess that's not funny. It's funny to me, but it's not funny to anybody else. So you kind of have to, you give it a little space, try it over and over again. And if it doesn't work, then it's time to put it away.
Yeah, we were laughing just how bad we did.
We were laughing about how.
So here's what we're going to end on.
We didn't read the room.
Here's what we're going to end on. So when we were going through, so like I told you, there's a comedian who has been helping us, who worked with us in that class, and we can send him material. He can give some comments back on it, coaching. His name is Matt Alano Martin. Phenomenal
Yeah, he's
comedian.
so funny.
He hosts. He has a comedy festival. All the stuff.
He lives in Bloomington.
Matt said to us, what are you going to do with this? Now, first off, why do we do this to begin with? Like, we could very easily just be sitting at home watching TV.
Because you pimp me
or
out.
going someplace. You say I pimp you out. We enjoy doing things together.
We do.
We enjoy kind of challenging each other. My wife is amazing at comedy. She's great at stand-up by herself.
Well,
But
I'm
you
not
also, but you
quitting
also-
my day job
No.
to do it.
Well, golly, neither one of us can quit anything based on last
now
night.
we're doomed. We're on unemployment.
That banquet hall wouldn't even hire us to clean the dishes. Anyway, but the whole thing is, we both did theater in college. We both have done theater since being married and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have the opportunity to perform. This is something that lets us exercise a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
That we enjoy the challenge of writing. We enjoy the challenge of actually standing in front of people and trying to do something to make them laugh, to elicit a response. We really do. And when we first did stand up individually, I've shared this before, but the lady at the Crackers Comedy Club said, you guys need to come back and do this. You need to come back. You need to really get back and do this. And we said, we can't, because we're married and we've got 3 kids and 50 animals and we've got
Tons
life.
of jobs.
And that's why most of the stand-up, most of the open mics are, kids in their 20s who are trying to make it and do the different things. Or there's older people who have given up their jobs.
They're retired now and they got time to do it.
But for the two of us, we're doing it for a fun adventure together. We're doing it because, when we decided to try doing it together, it's because we watched George and Gracie and we're like, wow, people don't do that anymore. And Jerry, Stiller and Mira, it's like, people don't do this. So we said, why don't we try it? And Matt said, this is really hard, you two. Like, this is not, I've seen father and son do it and I've seen brothers do it.
Yeah,
this is hard.
He encouraged us, but he just wanted us to no, this is not like doing your own set. This is going to be really hard. And it is.
It is hard. But
it is
but
the hard.
the whole
It's
point is,
way harder than
there
doing
is
it
a
by
couple.
myself.
There is a couple that I watched on Netflix that did stand up together. But what they did was he did his set. She did her set, and then they just did crowd work together on relationships. But
we did
actually
a
the
little bit of
timing-
that yesterday.
but the timing of doing
our-
it together is what is
Right.
because you can't read it like a script where it's like da 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 bum 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 bum.
Which is what he wants to do all the time.
But we have to let and what's funny is when we got in an argument on stage at the class, everybody was more enthralled with that than our actual set.
They thought it was
like,
fantastic.
wait,
And the comic that was there that night, she actually sat in on class and she looked over.
goes, is this part of your set?
And she said, are you recording this? And then I have to just say this because it made me feel great. She said, how long have you been doing this? Have you ever done this on your own? Have you ever done stand-up on your own? And I said, no, just at this class, And she goes, man, if somebody would have asked me, I would have said, you've been doing it at least 5 years.
Yeah, because you are good.
My head exploded. But
this is a professional comedian.
not last night. Last night was not the night.
But so Matt said to us, what are you going to do with this? And the reality is, he said, you guys can get booked and, you can do features around here and Dayton
Open mics
and South
I don't
Bend
really
and Fort
wanna do.
Wayne and go to Bloomington. We can do that. We can do that thing. And you're performing in rooms. Now, last night it was a room of children and elderly and church people. They didn't really find us funny. But I also don't think that a comedy club where people are expecting dick jokes and
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
we're not going to do
gross
that.
stuff
And we're not
either.
really mean, but we are clean. And so the thing that's really
With
been
the
on our
exception of saying boob and eggplant emoji.
but you're really good. And I think the thing that I have to get over is this performance mentality of if we just went up there and enjoyed each other more and kind of had fun with it, like, yeah, we're bombing right now, but if we still had fun, you said it, you said, I never fail. Like, I can't be bad.
Yeah,
That was your
did.
thing. I was like, wait, what just happened? We always win. Like, we're supposed to do great.
Yeah.
We're supposed to do better. And I have to let that go. And I was thinking about the only other.
I did have a funny line though the last night that just came to me, and it just summed the whole thing up. I said, "Yeah, I'm just trying to fill the silence, basically, of you staring at me." And I said, when you've been married 36 years, you basically know what each other is thinking, and sometimes you just don't want to know what the other one is thinking, and because I could just see your mind, it was just like
I was lost. But it was like, I mean, I don't know whether I was tired, the one beer I had yesterday.
No.
But anyway, I was talking about the performance mentality. You remember one time I had to preach or got to preach at our church, and it was like lay.
Oh,
speaking thing.
yeah. I wasn't there.
You weren't there. Oh, you weren't. You missed it. But anyway,
I was out of town.
you prepare for 2 weeks. You get the sermon down. You practice. You've got it down. And you think it's the most inspirational thing that people are ever going to hear. And I go and I deliver this message.
Everybody said it was good.
Yeah. But then you go to the back, and I really feel for Mark and Ben and anybody who's a professional pastor that
Because you're really sharing something that's
you're
on your
sharing, but
heart.
then you stand in the
Yeah.
back of the room at the end, and you have to say, "Oh, it's good to see you," and people go by and go, "Thanks, bye." It's like, wait, I just worked on this for 2 weeks, and I just shared from my heart, and the best you can do is, "Hey, where's Suzanne?" or something like that, and you sit there and go, "Wait, am I doing it for them, or am I doing it because I'm called to this?" And I think with us, it's like, and when I do weddings, that's a fun thing to do. People enjoy that. I haven't failed at a wedding yet. I'm a little scared now that I bombed this bad. but
Well, I don't think you haven't failed a wedding. You've had one marriage fail that
out of all the
married
ones.
a-
So,
that they
so
got
as we wrap
divorced.
this up, I'm gonna throw something out there, and this is where we are right now of where I think I would like for us to go.
Okay.
You're nervous about this, but I really think so. Suzanne and I love couples ministry. We've always loved couples ministry.
On the down low.
Yes, on the down low. But we have gone through a lot in our marriage. God has healed our marriage. God has given
Yeah.
us, like we had a first marriage and now we have a second marriage. We have been blessed to be with couples.
I always loved you. Just sometimes I didn't like you.
But we have been blessed because we have had several couples go through crisis, and we've been their ER.
Yeah.
And we have been blessed to go through weekly and biweekly Bible studies with young couples and talk about everything from communication to how you celebrate Christmas to just you name it.
To kids being on the spectrum, to
whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So what I'm praying about right now and hoping my wife will come along because this itches,
'cause I need some convincing.
This itches her worst fear. And I'll get to that in a minute. But I'd like to launch the Marry Your Best Friend, Laugh, Love, and Last Together workshop.
which sounds so super cheesy.
It is super cheesy. But if you go to a Weekend to Remember, a lot of guys don't
Which
want to go
is
to that.
so cheesy.
But a lot
Why?
of people go.
That's
and
why
they're-
we didn't go.
But the wedding families get healed there and all this kind of stuff. But then couples ministry at church is usually one of the most
Interesting.
uninteresting or at least focused on ministry. Now, kids ministry, youth ministry.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, we've got alcoholics over here. We've got men's ministry. We've got women's ministry. Couples ministry. So like at the Catholic Church, I went through the E90 thing for 90 days with guys. And then they've got Magnify 90, which is 90 days for the women to go through that.
Yeah, but they don't have anything for the
couples.
Couples, yeah.
And I've been challenged to write something for a 90-day devotional path.
Please don't
for
let it be
couples.
this.
It won't be this. But I think that we have enough friends who are pastors, whether it be, Hasty or my friend Barrett Bowden or just different friends who are pastors, that I would love for us to go in on a Friday night and a Saturday morning and do a Marry Your Best Friend type of workshop. And here's what I have set. So Friday night, we open with a comedy set. Okay.
Okay.
Not this one.
Not this one, please, Lord. No.
We'll do another one.
Okay.
And then after that first comedy set, we open the weekend by we're doing the secret sauce: why friendship matters in marriage.
And here's the thing, too, is my brain can only hold so much. Like the drawers in my brain
I love teaching.
is so full. They're so full. So we need to get some solid ones that we can pull back from.
Comedy set, the secret sauce: why friendship matters in marriage. Explore how genuine friendship forms the foundation of a lasting marriage. You like that session? We're okay. And then we go into discussion about what makes you feel like best friends, icebreaker games. You know, how well do you know your spouse? Fun stuff on Friday night.
Okay.
Everybody goes home to their hotel, wherever they do. Some churches will do a hotel. Some churches will send them home, come back the next morning. We have breakfast, and then we go into Saturday morning. Start off fighting fair, turning conflict into connection. And we're going to talk about real humorous, practical ways to handle disagreements. You and I, people may not believe this, we have argued before.
I bet nobody thinks that. They think that we're perfect.
I would love to do an anonymous silent argument slip so everybody fills out the most ridiculous fights that they've ever had, and we draw those out and we read them and talk about those.
I think that's great. You know what? There's something, I can't remember. It's an old show, and they have been fighting for a long time, the husband and wife. Oh, it's Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
And it's, the mom and dad, and they cannot remember what the fight is 45 years later. They just know that they were fighting about the wooden spoon hanging in the kitchen, but they didn't remember anything about it. Yeah.
Well, so here we go. So after we do fighting fair, then we talk about you, me, and the comedy of everyday life. Talk about how to use laughter and lightness to weather life's storms and joys. I mean, because humor is the best. We can talk through this. Rekindling romance. We could also have a session where you talk to the women, I talk to the men. This is going to be great. Here's where...
Look at him. This is going to be great.
Yes, and then we end with building spiritual intimacy without awkwardness. There are a lot of couples who want to have God at the center of their marriage, but they may not know how to pray together. They may not,
Or they may have come from different faiths.
Yes. And the storytelling of when we tried praying together and it got weird. Talking about guided couple prayer and reflective writing, share favorite verses.
Got weird.
No, but the whole thing here is we're not going to be comedians in a nightclub.
Well,
and based on last night,
I think we could be, but...
Yeah, but is that what we're called to? Now, here's where Suzanne's fear is. Her dad made a living going church to church.
I hated it.
You hated it. Her dad made a living going, he would do Sunday morning at First Assembly of God in Maybank, and then Sunday night at First Assembly of God, Kaufman. And then he would go out to eat with the pastors afterwards. And he loved calling each of these guys on the phone and saying, hey, Pastor Bob.
The life.
Pastor Bob, I got an opening in my calendar next October. How would you like to have me?
I can't.
And Suzanne dreads that.
Yeah.
Even when I was like, I just think we're supposed to do something here. So I don't know what that is, but we're going to try. Based on last night, we really shouldn't ever do this ever again. But hey, we're challenging. Okay, any last words, babe?
No.
Do you feel better now that it's over with? Do you want me to play the rest of the stand-up?
No, I do not. I don't even want to watch it because I'm afraid I'll have nightmares.
We can play 3 minutes of me standing there looking at you going,
I don't know what to say.
At one point last night, Suzanne looked at me and she literally said, are you having a seizure? This was not on stage. But we've had 2 friends recently have strokes. One of my high school friends, a person I work with. And I'm looking down thinking about how bad, this is before the set, and I was realizing how wrong my material. I already knew how bad this show was going to be. And thank you for those who donated. It went a long way, and they don't hate us because you donated. But I don't think I'll ever make it back to the South Side without somebody going, oh, that guy's not really funny.
That guy. Yeah.
But you looked at me, you said, are you having a seizure right now? Because I was like, these jokes at this room, they're not going to get them. I can't believe I'm going to talk about Cialis in front of this crowd. Anyway. All right. Well.
And if you've made it to the end of this, is it a live?
Yeah,
are we
live.
Facebook Live?
It's live, but
I'll
put it on our normal podcast channel. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Our next podcast actually will be back to normal. It's one of us is going to Oktoberfest. That's the next Marry Your Best Friend podcast. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being our friend. Thanks for donating. And please don't ever ask anybody who was there last night how bad it was.